Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, watching the stars through the large viewing window. The ship had been patrolling the outer edge of human space for 3 weeks now. It was supposed to be a quiet mission, just checking trade routes and making sure everything was safe. The Liberty was not like the sleek ships that other races built. It was thick and heavy, made from steel and other strong metals. The humans who built it knew that space was dangerous. They made it to last through anything. The ship's hull was so thick that it could fly through asteroid fields without worry. Its weapons were big and powerful, designed to destroy whatever threatened it. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes sat at her station, watching the sensor screens. She was good at her job and never missed anything important. Today, something was different. 12 ships were coming toward them, moving in a neat formation. "Captain," she called out, "I'm picking up 12 unknown vessels approaching from Sector 7. They're moving in what looks like a diplomatic pattern." Jake walked over to look at her screen. The ships were unlike anything in human records. They were long and thin, almost like needles made of silver. They moved with perfect grace, as if they were dancing through space. "Any idea who they are?" Jake asked. "No, sir. They're not in our database, but they're using standard galactic communication frequencies." Commander Ryan Clark, the first officer, looked up from his station. He was a calm man who rarely got excited about anything. "Should we try to talk to them, Captain?" Jake nodded. "Yes, but let's be ready for anything. Hayes, bring our shields. Up to half power. Clark, open a channel." The Liberty's defenses came online with a low hum. The ship's massive particle beam arrays rotated slightly, and the kinetic railguns loaded fresh ammunition. To the humans, this was just being careful. They had learned long ago that it was better to be ready and not need to fight than to be caught unprepared. Far away, aboard the lead alien ship, Fleet Admiral Kith Tar watched the human vessel with growing concern. The Zephyrians had ruled this part of space for over 300 years. They were proud of their advanced technology and their elegant way of war. Their ships were beautiful, fast, and efficient. But this human ship was different. It was ugly and brutal looking. Its weapons were huge and primitive, but they looked incredibly dangerous. The thick armor made no sense to Kith Tar. Why would anyone build a ship so heavy when you could make it fast instead? "Admiral," his tactical officer said, "the alien ship is powering weapons and raising shields. I think they mean to attack us." Kith Tar studied the readings. The human ship's energy output was enormous. Their weapon systems were crude, but powerful, enough to destroy planets. The armor was thick enough to stop their best weapons. This was not a normal ship. This was a weapon of war. "Try to communicate with them," Kith Tar ordered, "but be ready to defend ourselves." Back on the Liberty, Ryan Clark worked to establish communication. The alien response came through clearly, translated by the ship's computer. "Unknown vessel, this is Fleet Admiral Kith Tar of the Zephyrian Empire. You have entered our space with weapons powered and shields raised. State your intentions." Jake stepped forward. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the human vessel USS Liberty. We mean no harm. We're on a patrol mission and didn't know this was your space. We're willing to talk." There was a long pause. Then Kith Tar's voice came back, sounding worried. "Human, we have no record of your species. Your ship appears to be a military vessel of enormous power. Why do you travel alone if you come in peace?" Jake looked confused. "This is just a patrol ship. We always travel ready to defend ourselves. That's just common sense." Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez was in the lower decks, doing his daily work on the ship's fusion reactors. The Liberty had 3 massive reactors that powered everything on board. Sam was checking the power levels and adjusting the fuel flow. It was routine maintenance that he did every day, but to the Zephyrian sensors it looked like the humans were preparing for battle. The energy readings spiked as Sam brought the reactors to full power for testing. The aliens saw this as the humans charging their most powerful weapons. "Admiral," the Zephyrian tactical officer shouted. "The human ship is bringing all power. Systems online. They're preparing to fire." Kith Tar felt fear run through him. The humans had lied about being peaceful. They were getting ready to attack with weapons that could destroy his entire fleet. He had to protect his people. On the Liberty's bridge, Jake was still trying to talk to the aliens. "We don't want any trouble. Maybe we can work something out. Our species could be friends." But the translation system was having problems. Some human words didn't translate well into Zephyrian. When Jake said friends, the alien computer heard allies in war. When he said they could work something out, it sounded like a threat. Lisa Hayes watched her sensors carefully. "Captain, the alien ships are spreading out. It looks like they're trying to surround us." Jake frowned. That didn't sound like something peaceful ships would do. "Are they targeting us?" "I'm reading weapons log from 6 of their ships," Lisa said. "They're charging what looks like plasma weapons." Ryan Clark shook his head. "I thought we were making progress with the talks." On the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Kethtar made his decision. The humans were clearly preparing to attack. Their ship was a monster that could destroy worlds. If he waited, they might kill millions of his people. He had to strike first. "All ships," he said into his communication system, "prepare to fire on my command. The humans have come here to destroy us. We will not let that happen." Jake Morrison had no idea what was about to happen. He was still hoping to make peace with these new aliens. Humans had always dreamed of meeting other intelligent life in the galaxy. This should have been a great day for both species. But fear and misunderstanding were stronger than hope. The Zephyrians saw a threat that didn't exist. The humans saw aliens acting hostile for no reason. Neither side understood the other. "Captain," Lisa Hayes said urgently, "all 12 alien ships are targeting us. I think they're about to attack." Jake felt his heart sink. He had hoped this would end peacefully. But the Liberty was his ship, and these people were his crew. He would not let them die because of a misunderstanding. "All hands battle stations," he announced over the ship's communication system. "This is not a drill." The Liberty's crew moved quickly to their positions. They had trained for this moment, even though they hoped it would never come. The ship's massive weapons came fully online. The thick armor plating shifted to protect the most important systems. Admiral Kethtar saw the human ship's final preparations and knew he was out of time. "Fire!" he shouted. 12 Zephyrian ships opened fire at once, sending streams of deadly plasma toward the USS Liberty. The peaceful meeting between two species had become a battle that would change the galaxy forever. The Zephyrian plasma beams hit the USS Liberty like bright spears of light. The alien weapons were beautiful and deadly, designed to cut through most ships like a hot knife through butter. Each beam carried enough energy to vaporize a city block. 12 ships fired at once, pouring enough firepower to destroy a small moon. But the Liberty was not like other ships. The plasma beams struck the thick armor and spread across the hull like water hitting a rock. The metal glowed white-hot, but it held. The ship shook hard, throwing some crew members to the floor, but the hull did not break. Captain Jake Morrison pulled himself up from where he had fallen. He looked around the bridge and saw his crew getting back to their stations. No one was badly hurt. The lights flickered for a moment, then came back on. "Damage report," Jake called out. Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez's voice came through the communication system from deep in the ship. "Hull armor is holding, Captain. We lost some outer plating, but nothing important. All systems are working." Jake felt amazed. The alien weapons had looked so powerful, but his ship had survived. The Liberty had been built by people who knew what real war looked like. Every piece of metal, every system, every bolt had been made to keep working when everything went wrong. Lisa Hayes checked her sensors and couldn't believe what she was seeing. "Captain, the alien weapons barely scratched us. Our armor is designed for much worse than this." On the Zephyrian flagship, Admiral Kethtar stared at his screens in shock. His most powerful weapons had hit the human ship directly. There should have been nothing left but burning pieces of metal floating in space. Instead, the ugly human ship was still there, and it looked angry. "Impossible," whispered his tactical officer. "Our plasma cascades can destroy any known ship." "How are they? Still alive?" Kethtar felt fear creep into his heart. What kind of monsters built ships that could survive their best weapons? What kind of wars had these humans fought to need such thick armor? On the Liberty, Jake Morrison looked at the alien ships on his screen. They had attacked his ship and tried to kill his crew. He had tried to be peaceful, but they had chosen war instead. Jake had fought in battles before. He knew that in war, you had to hit back harder than your enemy hit you. All weapons, Jake said in a calm voice that scared his enemies more than any shouting could. Fire at will. Lieutenant Kelly Barnes sat at the weapons station. She was young but very good at her job. She had trained for years to use the Liberty's weapons. Now she would show these aliens what human weapons could do. Firing main guns, Kelly said. The USS Liberty's railguns spoke with a voice like thunder. Each gun fired a solid piece of metal, the size of a telephone pole. The metal slugs moved at almost the speed of light, carrying more energy than most alien weapons could produce. The first slug hit a Zephyrian ship in the middle. The beautiful, graceful vessel simply came apart. One moment it was there, elegant and deadly. The next moment it was pieces of metal scattered across space. The crew had no time to scream, no time to understand what had killed them. The second and third slugs found their targets just as easily. 2 more alien ships died in flashes of light and flying metal. The Zephyrian weapons were designed to be efficient and clean. Human weapons were designed to destroy everything they touched. Admiral Kethtar watched 3 of his ships die in less than 10 seconds. His beautiful fleet, the pride of the Zephyrian Empire, was being torn apart by weapons that looked primitive and crude. But crude didn't mean weak. The human weapons hit like the fist of an angry god. All ships, retreat, Kethtar shouted into his communicator. Get us out of here. But Kelly Barnes was not done. Chief Petty Officer Mike Sullivan had been tracking the alien ship since the battle started. He was good at math and understood how ships moved in space. He had already figured out where the aliens would try to run. Kelly, Mike called out. They're going to try to escape through Sector 12. I'm sending you the firing solution. Kelly smiled as the targeting information appeared on her screen. The Liberty carried long-range missiles designed to hunt down enemy ships. Each missile had a nuclear warhead that humans considered small and normal. To aliens who had forgotten what real war looked like, they were weapons of terror. Missiles. Away, Kelly announced. 4 missiles launched from the Liberty and raced after the fleeing Zephyrian ships. The aliens tried to run, but their ships were built for grace, not speed. The human missiles were built for one thing: catching and killing enemy ships. 2 more Zephyrian vessels disappeared in balls of nuclear fire. The explosions lit up space like tiny suns. The remaining alien ships finally managed to jump to hyperspace, but they left 7 of their friends behind, dead in the darkness. Dr. Amy Foster sat at the communication station, listening to the alien radio messages. She was the ship's expert on alien languages and cultures. What she heard in the surviving ship's transmissions made her feel sick. Captain, Amy said, you need to hear this. The aliens are calling us demons. They're saying we're monsters who eat our enemies and build weapons from their bones. Jake frowned. That's not true. We were just defending ourselves. I know, sir, but they don't see it that way. To them, we just destroyed most of their fleet without taking any real damage. They think we're unstoppable killing machines. Commander Ryan Clark looked at the battle report on his screen. 7 enemy ships destroyed, 0 human casualties. The Liberty had a few scratches on her armor, but nothing that couldn't be fixed in a few hours. Captain, Ryan said, I think we have a problem. We just won this fight too easily. The aliens are going to think we're some kind of superweapon. Jake nodded slowly. He was starting to understand what had happened. Humans had learned to fight, on a world where everything tried to kill them. They had fought wars for thousands of years, learning how to build better weapons and stronger armor. These aliens had been at peace for so long that they had forgotten what real war looked like. Amy, Jake said, try to contact the surviving ships. Tell them we don't want to fight anymore. Tell them we want peace. Amy tried, but the aliens would not answer. They were too afraid to talk to the demons who had destroyed their fleet. Admiral Kethtar's last message before jumping away contained, Only one word spoken in fear and hatred. Demons. Sam Rodriguez came up to the bridge, wiping grease from his hands. Captain, the ship is fine. A few burn marks on the hull, but nothing serious. We could fight 10 more battles like this one. Jake looked out at the empty space where the alien ships had been. 7 crews were dead because of a misunderstanding. He had tried to make peace, but fear had made it impossible. Set course for Earth, Jake ordered. Command needs to know what happened here, and they need to know that we may have just started a war with the rest of the galaxy. As the Liberty turned toward home, none of the crew knew that news of their victory was already spreading through alien space. The story grew larger and more frightening with each telling. By the time it reached the major alien governments, humans had become unstoppable monsters who destroyed entire fleets for fun. The galaxy was about to learn that humans were very good at war. Too good. Admiral Kethtar's ship jumped out of hyperspace near the Zephyrian homeworld. His hands shook as he sent an emergency message to the Imperial Council. The proud fleet admiral who had left with 12 ships now returned with only 4 badly damaged vessels and news that would terrify the galaxy. Emergency council meeting, he transmitted. We have encountered a new species. They are extremely dangerous. Immediate threat to the Empire and all known life. Within hours, the Zephyrian Imperial Council gathered in their crystal palace. Kethtar stood before them, still wearing his battle-damaged uniform. His normally perfect appearance was ruined, his confidence completely gone. They came from nowhere, he told the council members. 1 ship against 12 of ours. Our weapons did nothing to them, nothing at all. Their armor is impossibly thick. Their weapons destroy everything they touch. Council leader Virilon listened with growing alarm. You're saying 1 alien ship destroyed 7 of our finest vessels? They're not normal aliens, Kethtar said, his voice filled with fear. They're demons. Killing machines built for war. They don't negotiate. They don't show mercy. They just destroy everything in their path. The council members looked at each other in shock. The Zephyrian Empire had not lost a battle in over 200 years. The idea that 1 ship could destroy most of their fleet seemed impossible. What do they want? Asked Counselor Dexera. I don't know, Kethtar admitted. They said they wanted peace, but then they attacked without warning. I think they were lying to make us lower our guard. The news spread quickly through the Empire's communication networks. Within days, every major civilization in the galaxy had heard about the humans. The story changed as it passed from one species to another, becoming more frightening each time. On the water world of Aquatica, the fish-like Mirani heard that humans were giant monsters who breathed fire and ate metal. The insect-like Hivetar were told that humans could destroy planets by looking at them. The peaceful plant people of Greenworld learned that humans turned entire systems into ash and dust. The Altarian Federation called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. Representatives from 50 different species gathered on the neutral World of Harmony station. The great meeting hall had never seen such fear and panic. Ambassador Vexara of the Centaurian Alliance stood up to speak. Her blue skin was pale with worry. Friends, we face a threat unlike anything in recorded history. These humans must be stopped before they destroy us all. The machine intelligence known as the Collective sent its robotic representative. We have calculated the probability of human expansion into our territory. If they continue their current pattern of destruction, 97.3% of known civilizations will be extinct within 50 years. Elder Wisdom of the Ancient Ones spoke in a voice filled with sadness. In all our thousands of years, we have never encountered a species so devoted to war and death. They are the opposite of everything we believe in. But not everyone believed the stories. Ambassador Calmheart of the peace-loving species stood up slowly. Has anyone actually tried to talk to these humans? All we have are reports from one battle. Maybe there's another side to this story. The other ambassadors looked at him like he was crazy. Vexera shook her head. They destroyed 7 ships without taking any damage. What more do we need to know? Meanwhile, aboard the USS Liberty, Captain Jake Morrison was dealing with his own problems. Communications Officer Tony Martinez had been monitoring alien transmissions for weeks. What he heard made him feel sick. Captain, Tony said, You're not going to believe this. The aliens think we're monsters. According to their news reports, we eat our enemies and use their bones to build weapons. Jake rubbed his forehead. That's ridiculous. We were just defending ourselves. I know, sir. But the stories keep getting worse. Some aliens think we can destroy planets with our minds. Others believe we're demons from another dimension. Lieutenant Commander Lisa Hayes looked up from her sensor station. Sir, I'm picking up massive fleet movements throughout the sector. It looks like multiple species are mobilizing their militaries. Commander Ryan Clark studied the tactical reports. Captain, I think they're getting ready for war. Against us. Jake felt the weight of responsibility on his shoulders. One misunderstanding had led to this. Now the entire galaxy might go to war because they were afraid of humanity. Dr. Amy Foster had been working day and night to understand the alien cultures. Captain, I think I know what went wrong. Most of these species have been at peace for hundreds of years. They've forgotten what real war looks like. To them, our normal defensive measures seem incredibly aggressive. The situation got worse when refugee ships started appearing near human space. Alien families, terrified by the stories they had heard, were fleeing their homes. They packed everything they could carry and ran from worlds that were light years away from any human presence. On the trading station Deep Space Nine, panic buying had emptied the stores. Alien merchants sold emergency supplies at crazy prices. Families fought over seats on ships leaving the area. Everyone wanted to get as far from human space as possible. The Corvani bird people abandoned 3 entire planets near the human border. The crystal beings of Shard World packed up their young and moved to the far side of their territory. Even species that lived hundreds of light years away started making plans to evacuate. Back on Earth, Admiral Patricia Stone sat in her office at Earth Defense Command, reading the reports from the USS Liberty. She was a tough woman who had fought in many battles, but this situation worried her more than any enemy fleet. This is bad, she told her aide, Colonel Ben Parker. We've accidentally made the entire galaxy afraid of us. What do we do, Admiral? Ben asked. We try to make peace, Patricia said. But it won't be easy. When people are scared, they don't think clearly. They see threats everywhere. She was right to be worried. On the war world of Korthak, Grand Marshal Thokran was gathering the largest military fleet in galactic history. The hegemony of Kor had always wanted to conquer their neighbors, but other species had always stopped them. Now they had an excuse. The humans threaten all life in the galaxy, Thokran announced to his generals. We must destroy them before they destroy us. This is not conquest. This is survival. His massive dreadnought, Terror of Worlds, began loading weapons designed to crack planets in half. 300 warships gathered around it, ready to show the galaxy that the hegemony of Kor feared no one, not even the demon humans. The peaceful species tried one last time to avoid war. They sent diplomatic messages toward human space, asking for talks. But their messages were full of fear and threats. They demanded that humans surrender their weapons and submit to galactic authority. When Jake Morrison read these messages, he shook his head sadly. They're not trying to make peace. They're trying to make us surrender because they're afraid of us. What do we tell them, Captain? Ryan asked. Jake looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, hundreds of ships were getting ready to attack. Earth. Millions of aliens had fled their homes in terror, all because of one misunderstanding that had spiraled out of control. Tell them the truth, Jake said. We don't want war. We never wanted war. But we won't surrender to anyone who threatens us. The galaxy was preparing for the biggest war in its history, and humanity didn't even know it was coming. The massive alien fleet appeared at the edge of human space like a dark cloud covering the stars. 312 warships from the hegemony of Kor spread out in battle formation. At their center was the Terror of Worlds, a ship so large it could be seen from planets without telescopes. Grand Marshal Thokran stood on his command deck, looking at the small human colony world of New Texas below. He had expected to find hundreds of human warships defending it. Instead, he saw only farming settlements and peaceful cities. Where is their fleet? Asked his tactical officer, General Vakhtar. Thokran frowned. Scan the entire system. The humans must be hiding somewhere. But there were no hidden fleets. The humans had sent only 5 ships to meet them. 5 small ships against more than 300. It seemed like madness. Commodore Jake Morrison, recently promoted after the first battle, stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty. Next to his ship flew the USS Constitution, USS Defiance, USS Retribution, and USS Vengeance. Each ship carried a crew that knew they were about to fight the most important battle in human history. "Sir," said Communications Officer Tony Martinez, "the alien commander is sending us a message." "Put it on screen," Jake ordered. Grand Marshal Thokran's ugly face appeared on the screen. He looked like a cross between a lizard and a bear, with sharp teeth and angry red eyes. "Human demons, I am Grand Marshal Thokran of the Hegemony of Kor. You will surrender immediately or we will destroy every human world we can find." Jake stepped forward calmly. "Marshal Thokran, I'm Commodore Jake Morrison. We don't want to fight you. We've never done anything to harm your people. Why don't we talk about this?" Thokran laughed, a sound like rocks grinding together. "Talk? You destroyed a Zephyrian fleet without mercy. You are monsters who must be stopped. I give you 1 minute to surrender, or we will show the galaxy that the Hegemony of Kor fears no one." The communication ended. Jake looked around his bridge at his crew. They all knew what was coming. Lisa Hayes checked her weapons one more time. Tony Martinez made sure all the other human ships were ready. Chief Engineer Sam Rodriguez reported that all systems were working perfectly. "Sir," said Commander Helen Price, the brilliant new tactical officer who had joined them after the first battle, "I've studied their formation. They're packed too close together. If we can break their line in the right place, we can cause a chain reaction." Jake nodded. Helen was the smartest person he had ever met when it came to space battles. If she said there was a way to win, he believed her. On the USS Constitution, Captain Jeff Adams was ready for the fight. He had served with Jake in the Mars Colonial Wars and knew how to handle impossible odds. His ship was loaded with the newest human weapons, designed after studying the first battle with the Zephyrians. Captain Sarah Blake of the USS Vengeance was the youngest captain in the fleet, but she was also the most daring. Her ship carried a new weapon that had never been tested in real battle. Today, the galaxy would see what human engineers could build when they really tried. "All ships," Jake said over the communication system, "remember what we're fighting for. Not conquest, not glory, but the right to exist in peace. Show them that humans can be reasonable, but we will never surrender to bullies." Grand Marshal Thokran gave the order to attack. 300 ships opened fire at once. The space around the 5 human ships filled with energy beams, plasma bolts, and missile explosions. It looked like the humans would be destroyed in seconds, but the human ships moved like dancers in the storm of weapons fire. They had been built by people who understood that in real war, you had to be able to fight when everything went wrong. Their thick armor absorbed hits that would have destroyed alien ships. Their shields bent and twisted but did not break. The USS Constitution was the first to strike back. Captain Jeff Adams had positioned his ship exactly where Helen Price had calculated. When he fired his main guns, the railgun slugs punched through 3 alien ships in a straight line. The ships behind them were hit by flying pieces of metal moving at incredible speed. "Chain reaction starting," Helen Price reported with satisfaction. "Their formation is collapsing." The alien ships had been packed together because they thought overwhelming numbers would win the battle quickly. But when ships started exploding, the pieces hit other ships. Soon dozens of alien vessels were damaged or destroyed by debris from their own friends. Thokran watched in horror as his perfect battle plan fell apart. How are they doing this? 5 ships cannot defeat 300. But they were doing it. The human ships moved through the alien formation like sharks through a school of fish. Every shot they fired destroyed an enemy ship. Every move they made was exactly right. Captain Sarah Blake saw her chance. She flew the USS Vengeance straight into the middle of the alien fleet, allowing enemy ships to surround her. It looked like suicide. "Sarah, what are you doing?" Jake called over the radio. "Trust me, Commodore," Sarah replied. I've got a surprise for our friends. She activated humanity's newest weapon, the quantum cascade torpedo. The explosion that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. A bubble of pure energy expanded outward, tearing apart everything it touched. 17 alien ships vanished in an instant. Dozens more were damaged so badly they could not fight. The surviving alien ships began to retreat in panic. Grand Marshal Thokran's mighty fleet was running away from 5 human ships. The Terror of Worlds, built to destroy planets, limped away with half its weapons destroyed. All alien ships, this is Commodore Morrison, Jake announced on all frequencies. Stop running and listen to me. The fleeing ships slowed down, afraid but curious. Jake's voice was calm and strong, not angry or threatening. We didn't want this fight, Jake said. We've never wanted to hurt anyone. All we want is to live in peace and maybe be friends with other species. But if you attack us, we will defend ourselves with everything we have. He paused, making sure everyone in the galaxy could hear his next words. We judge other species not by how they look or what technology they have, but by what they do. If you come to us as friends, we will welcome you. If you come as traitors, we will trade fairly with you. But if you come as enemies, you will learn why humans have survived on a world that tried to kill us every day. The battle was over. More than half the alien fleet was destroyed or damaged. The 5 human ships were scratched, but still fighting, strong. The galaxy had learned something important. Humans were the most dangerous warriors they had ever seen, but they only fought when they had to. 6 months later, diplomat Rachel Green signed the Human Galactic Accord in a ceremony broadcast across the galaxy. Most alien species agreed to peaceful relations with humanity. They had learned that it was much better to be friends with humans than enemies. Jake Morrison became humanity's first ambassador to the galactic community. As he looked out at the stars from his new office, he thought about how strange life was. A simple misunderstanding had almost started a galactic war, but now, because people had seen both human strength and human mercy, there was hope for real peace. The galaxy was different now. The old powers had to share space with a species that could destroy them but chose not to. And in the deep reaches of space, other civilizations watched and wondered what other surprises these remarkable humans might have.